Hello, my name is Ali, and welcome to my channel. We are back with Hakuoki Kyoto Nagakura's route. Let's go. Then he leaned up close to the door, listening intently to what was happening on the other side. I moved up next to the door as well, and followed suit, as did Heisuke.
Well, what do you want me to do? I'm not afraid to die, so if that's what it's going to be, then spit it out.
Hijikata sighed.
You're not happy with how I'm running things, are you? Every time you do something like this, it always comes down to my leadership.
This wasn't the tone he'd use giving orders to the other warriors. Back in Edo before the move to Kyoto, he'd probably spoken that way all the time.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Kondo too. Don't you think you're being a little bit too much of a hard ass on some of this stuff? I mean, I know we're not exactly the kind of guys a girl takes home to beat her parents, but at least I know how to use this sword. And, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's why the Shinsengumi's where it is now, right? 'Cause we always fight like our lives depend on it. At least, that's what I think. But now you go easy on guys who've never lifted a sword outside a dojo, but you come down with an iron club on your veterans. Doesn't seem right.
For a long time, Hijikata was silent. Then, when he finally spoke.
Sorry.
Nagakura gasped incredulously at his apology. As he was trying to find his footing again, Hijikata continued.
But if I go easy on you, I get complaints. People saying stupid crap like I give you the easy jobs, or the ones that'll make you look good, or you get more money, or that I play favorites.
I don't think you needed all those ors.
You really want people to think the reason that you got your position is from nepotism? Still, maybe you're right. I might have gone too far. I apologize.
Nagakura was silent. When he finally spoke, I could hear a bitter smile in his voice.
Dang it, man. I just can't win with you, can I? If you started lecturing me about regulations or my responsibilities as a leader, then I was just going to leave. But when you start acting like how you were back in the day, there's no way I can say no. You sure got me pegged.
I heard him scratch his head.
I screwed up too. I should have just talked to you instead of acting like a spoiled kid. Let's you and me get a drink sometime. We'll get something you can stomach. Huh. I can drink as much as you can. I just choose not to.
They talked a little longer, about nothing really. Then Nagakura stood up and walked toward us. We started to back away.
Hey, what the hell? Have you been listening the whole time?
Of course. Knowing you, I was worried you'd be at each other's throats the moment you left. And then you'd end up dead.
What are you talking about? Last I checked, only one of us has actually tried to off himself, Sano.
Harada and Heisuke looked at one another, relieved, and headed back towards their rooms. As I watched them go, I heard Nagakura mumble something to himself.
Whenever he does that, I can't bring myself to leave, even if things are really bad.
What?
If Kondo and Hijikata ever get, too big and forget where they came from, I'll leave and never look back. But there's still a part of Hijikata that hasn't changed since I met him back in Edo. Whenever I see it, I can't bring myself to leave.
I could see nostalgia in Nagakura's eyes as he turned and looked back toward Hijikata. There was no mistaking how deep their bond was. Compared to the length of time they'd known one another, my time with the Shinsengumi barely amounted to anything. I see what you mean. If the Shinsengumi fell apart, I'd be devastated. So, in a way, I thought I understood how he felt.
Looks like this is just the beginning, though. A lot more coming down the pipe. I hope we can stick together. All of us.
Me too. I meant every word I said. All right. October 1866. Tired. After the dust cleared, following the Hamagiri Rebellion, the shogun set about cleaning house. The Choshu expedition was launched by the shogun once the Choshu domain were declared enemies of the court. Perhaps feeling they dodged a bullet, the Choshu domain fell silent for a time. Their obedience was short-lived, however, and before long their disrespect for the shogun became impossible to ignore. In order to investigate further, the shogunate decided to send an envoy to the Choshu domain. Kondo was asked to accompany an envoy sent to the Choshu to investigate their behavior. However, the Choshu domain refused to even meet with the envoy. Fed up with their insubordination, the shogunate ordered the second Choshu expedition. However, the war was a costly one, exhausting both the resources and the men from all over the domains, whose morale began to falter. To add to the fire, word of Shogun Eimochi's passing shook all of Japan, and some domains even withdrew, which made the situation even dire. The second Choshu expedition had ended in a surprisingly major loss for the shogunate troops. October 1866. The pillar of the Tokugawa shogunate, which stood strong for 260 years, was beginning to show signs of instability. I almost sneezed. I could feel it in my nose. Oh, not the cicadas. That day I was accompanying Saito on his round. It sure has been hot lately. I've gotten used to the city of Kyoto, but I just can't get used to this humid heat.
Indeed.
I always wondered. Even in midsummer, Saito always wore his full uniform. Wasn't he hot? He kept his vigilant guard up while observing the city of Kyoto.
We can begin with this store and do our rounds. Wait here, Yukimura. There is nothing for you to do inside.
All right. He gave me a short nod of confirmation and stepped into the shop with his men.
It's the Shinsengumi. There are rumors floating around about Ronin coming in and out of here, so I'll have to inspect your store.
Yes, sir. Of course.
I'd been waiting for Saito and his division for a few minutes when I noticed a commotion nearby.
Hey, out of the way. You got a couple patriots coming through here.
A number of rather unpleasant-looking Ronin were making their way in the general direction, yelling, threatening, and intimidating anyone unfortunate enough to cross their path. Patriots? Hardly. Perhaps they considered themselves loyal to the imperial court, but they looked like the sort who only used their supposed patriotism as an excuse to steal and kill.
Hey, you deaf? I told you to move.
The Ronin tossed a poorly aimed kick at a child playing in the street. What should I do? It seemed like the warriors were preoccupied with their investigation in the store. Just as I was about to stop the Ronin, "Desist, you hooligans."
What's this? You think you can tell us what to do, lady? Ha! A woman wants to pick a fight with us? Patriots loyal to the emperor?
Well, perhaps it is you who should feel pathetic for being told by a woman to stop. Don't you know how much trouble you're causing to the Kyoto civilians?
You bitch!
The man's obviously short fuse had been lit. He made a grab for the girl and missed. I suspected his next attack wouldn't be as inaccurate. I couldn't let that happen. Wait. When I had come to my senses, I noticed that I had instinctively taken action. I positioned myself in front of the girl, protecting her.
Who are you? You know this broad?
No, I don't.
Then how's about you keep your damn nose out of my business?
Flecks of spit flew from his mouth as he roared at me, and my legs suddenly felt somewhat weaker than they had a moment ago. But I was committed. I couldn't run now. If you truly love your country, as you say, then why do you abuse women and children? A samurai should protect common people, not attack them.
What'd you say? That's right, you tell him, son.
How do you like that, you damn Ronin? Patriot my ass. Get out of my city.
Something about my speech must have struck a chord with the gathering crowd. With the cheers, my legs started to regain some of their usual steadiness.
You son of a bitch!
With the rough hiss of metal, the Ronin's sword leapt from its scabbard. Gah! I suddenly discovered I had difficulty swallowing. I could try to dodge, but if I did, he might hit the girl my actions had intended to protect. I was about to draw my sword.
Gah!
Huh? Slowly, carefully, I opened my eyes.
You needn't worry. I used the back of my sword.
Saito.
Rah, you!
Take them to headquarters. They may be Choshu.
Yes, sir.
Working quickly, Saito's men set to work binding the Ronin for transport. Saito's cold eyes fell on me.
That was reckless. Why didn't you call me? What were you going to do if they hurt you gravely?
I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. But I couldn't help myself. I mean, what if she were to get injured? The gentleman is right. You were dreadfully reckless. I had the situation quite well in hand. A scolding from Saito was expected, but I hadn't thought that my erstwhile damsel in distress would contribute. I'm sorry I made you worry. I gave her a short, slightly confused bow, to which she blinked as if suddenly remembering something very important. Oh, but you did save me, didn't you now? And I haven't yet thanked you. How crude of me. Thank you. Oh, well, I didn't do anything. It was Saito and his med who made the actual arrest. Oh, you needn't be so modest. It's way more respectful than just being a bystander. I suspect, that sounded weird, that this, our meeting here, is Providence. Young ladies must watch out for one another here in the city.
What? I don't know if you can hear that train, but my God, it is loud.
Saito glanced from her to me, and an expression flashed across his face that I couldn't quite place.
You can't expect to fool everyone. There's no need to worry about it.
Oh dear. Was it supposed to be a secret? Perhaps I shouldn't have mentioned it? Well, I wasn't entirely sure how to respond. How does a person respond to that sort of question? She seemed to sense my confusion and gracefully moved on. I'm terribly sorry, but I didn't believe I've even asked your name. How terribly boorish of me. I should very much like to be friends, but it is difficult to become acquainted with the nameless. Might I inquire as to who you are, then? Well, this is... Oh, I know who he is. Mr. Saito, yes. The Shinsengumi is frightfully famous here. And you are? My name is Chizuru Yukimura. It's nice to meet you. Yukimura? Her eyes grew wide, as if she were surprised, and she stared intently at me. Your last name is Yukimura? Were you born in the East? Why, yes. I was living in Edo, but I had come to Kyoto for a certain reason. She was acting a little strange, so I tried to speak to her, and she laughed and looked up. Oh, I'm sorry. It's nothing. It was the same last name as my acquaintance. I think Yukimura is a really pretty last name. You think so? Thank you. And it is a pleasure to meet you, Chizuru. You may call me Sen. Miss Sen? Nice to meet you. Oh, goodness. You needn't be so uptight. You look to be about my age, so I see no reason for us to not speak as equals. So just Sen, then? Yes, I suppose that will do. We must meet again sometime, Chizuru. Run. She gave my hand a gentle squeeze, then turned and left, her kimono flapping behind her. Our encounter was over before I'd had a chance to grasp what was even happening, and so I simply stood, stunned for a moment or two. Saito was eyeing Sen walking off, and eventually he turned to me.
That girl seemed to be rather curious about your last name.
I know, huh? She did say it was the same as her acquaintances. Well, I guess Yukimura isn't an uncommon name either. It seemed like Saito was concerned with her reaction to my name, and he was deep in thought. We're running behind our schedule. We should be going now.
Oh, yes. So we continued our rounds, trying to withstand the scorching heat. The heat wave ended up lasting several days. On one such day...
Pardon me, Yukimura. Is the batch of tea I prepared good enough?
Oh, it may be better to make them lukewarm. It's still quite hot today, don't you know?
Ah, I see. You're amazing.
The young man is Kazue. Is it Kazue? I think it's Kazue. Kazue Soma. He joined the Shinsengumi just before summer began. I know I've read his name quite a few times, and I believe he has a route too. I just for some reason looked at that. I was like, I think it's Kazue. All of a sudden, I don't know why. It's been a while since we've seen him, so whatever. He's very serious and respectful. Coincidentally, he had met the Shinsengumi around the time I'd first arrived in Kyoto, and he crossed paths with them during one of their rounds. Shortly after, Kondo had crossed paths with Soma when he visited Choshu with the envoy, and Kondo invited Soma to join the Shinsengumi. Now he currently works as Kondo's page. I really respect how much effort he puts in his work, and he keeps spirits high.
Then maybe we could water it down.
But if you do that, then the tea's flavor will become lighter.
Oh. Hey, Soma. What are we supposed to do then?
Why don't we cool it down with the well water?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's give it a try.
This energetic lad is Risaburo Nomura. He joined the Shinsengumi around the same time as Soma, and because of their closeness in age, Nomura became Kondo's page in training. For him, he was a huge fan of the Shinsengumi, and he joined them because of it. That left me to make sure that I teach them about all of the duties and responsibilities that go into becoming a page, which was harder than I thought. The tea doesn't have to be room temperature, just a little cooler to offset the hot weather. So, first, prepare some warm water rather than boiling hot, then try brewing it. That way, it doesn't dilute the tea's flavor.
Whoa, wow. Okay, I see. Wow, you sure do know a lot about this stuff.
I agree. It's very educational.
Thanks. Well, as for the tea, I'll pour some and take it to them, so you two...
What do you want us to do? We'll do anything.
Yes, indeed. Let us know.
All right, guys, you two are going to do some sword training with me. What's the matter? You don't want to do it?
No. Please train us.
Well, as for me, I have some work to do.
Hey, you're a newbie. Don't be shy now.
Nomura, come on now. This training is what will make us great warriors.
That's not training. That's pure hazing.
Well, I'll be taking them off your hands for the moment.
Okay, please take care of them. Soma gulped deeply, and he looked nervous. Nomura, on the other hand, looked ready to cry as Nagakura dragged both of them off to training. I wished the two of them the best of luck. Here is some parched barley tea, Kondo. Supposedly it lowers the body's temperature.
Oh, thank you.
Ah, the tea you pour is always easy to drink. It's perfect, Yukimura.
Thank you. He was deep in thought, arms crossed and stern. Things were bad since Lord Emochi's death. Kondo especially was having a difficult time. Perhaps it was best if I simply left him alone. I turned and had already begun to walk away when he spoke.
Matsumoto is examining Soji right now.
His coughing had grown more violent and more frequent lately. Perhaps... What did he say?
He hasn't said anything yet. I hope it's nothing serious. If something happened to Soji, I don't know how I'd be able to face her.
Her?
When we left for Kyoto, Mitsu, his older sister, asked me to look out for her, him, not her. Whoops.
Oh, Okita has an older sister?
He does. They lost their parents when they were children, so Mitsu was Soji's parental figure and raised him.
Ah, I see. Okita seems to have been through a lot.
Well, he is an honest man. I'm sure he didn't think he went through a lot. Seriously? To call a twisted man like him honest? I think you would be the only person in all of Japan who'd say that.
Oh, Hijikata.
Oh, Toshi. How are you? Did you want some tea too? No, I don't need any, but... Did you hear about the notice board over by Sanjo Ohashi Bridge? Yes, I've heard. The notice board about the Choshu's crime, right? Some assholes pulled it out and tossed it into the Kamo. Of course, I heard about that as well. But I thought that they put the notice board back up the next day.
I'm going to let you guys go here. I hope you are enjoying, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.